Hello everyone, how's it going? For today's video, the goal is to learn Next.js and in a manner that we have a solid grasp of Next.js, how it works, and what are the caveats of it. We'll be starting with a very lenient approach, the most easiest approach. And as a requirement to this, I have nothing for you. You do not need to know anything apart from basic knowledge of HTML, very basic of CSS, very basics of JavaScript, and a slight 1 hour, if you have even watched a slight 1 hour one shot video about React, then that is the best. You have no comparisons to other. So without a further ado, let us get into the video. We'll learn about Next.js, we'll learn how it works, how is it better than the others, and what is something that you need to be very careful about when you are building apps in Next.js. And this would be a very production ready approach of learning and understanding of everything. Starting with Escalator, what is Next.js? Next.js is a React framework for building full stack web application. What do I mean by full stack web application? Full stack web applications means you have a front end for showing the website. You have a front end, uh, or whatever it is, like front end. This is the front end. This is google.com. Consider Google is made on Next.js. Yeah, best example is understanding Wursel.com. Wursel is built on Next.js. It is showing you this web page. This is the front end of it. What you have been learning till date on React, on HTML, on CSS, on JS is building a front end. This is basically the front end of the website. What is the back end? If I click login, and put my email address, suppose I have put my email address rudro@dodocs.in. What it would do is it would send me an OTP. How did it send me an OTP? It sent me an OTP by sending a connection to the backend. What happened is, if you would inspect this one, inspect on the network tab. Ideally, would be on the elements tab. You need to come to the networks tab. Click on back. Put your email address over here. Clear everything. Cleared. Click on continue with email. What happened? You see a bunch of status codes, a bunch of types, and a bunch of names have come up. What happened? What is this one? If you don't understand, don't overactuate your brain. Think this is a very normal thing. What we are going through is a login process. What goes behind a login process? It is this specific login method. What did I hit? I hit Wursel.com/login, and I did a post request. What is post request? You do not to think about that. If you know, well. If you don't know, don't think of that. I made a post request where to the back end of my website. What did I send him? What did I send to the back end of my website? I have sent my email address. I have sent him I want to log in and not sign up. And I have sent him the path name through which I am trying to log in. What happened is, if I have clicked on login, it would send a request to the backend. It would send a request to the backend. Ki chalo ji, let me know of whatever I need to return to the user. Let me know what password the user needs to enter, and then I'll verify it and let you know if the user is good for login in or not. The front end is connected to the backend. The backend is connected to the front end through HTTP calls. What is HTTP calls? We'll explain that to you, not to worry about that. What I need you to understand is there is a front end where what you see, there is a backend where the business logic is performed. Now, what we will be learning first is the front end, and what we'll be learning next is the backend. Why I needed to explain you front end and backend is because I wanted you to understand Next.js is a full stack framework, and the meaning of full stack is you have in front end, you have the application how it looks, and you have the backend, you have the application of how it works, all together in one single platform. Uh, on in one single framework, better to say, and allowing you to do everything. Now, what would have been an approach if not Next.js? If not Next.js, you would have ideally went with, say, React plus Express for the backend. You need not to worry about that. We are not learning about Express in this video. We're not learning about React in this video. We're learning on Next.js. So we'll focus on that. Next about is Next.js is now divided into two parts. One is an app router. One is a uh, page router. Page router is an older original OG router of Next.js. It is still supported, still being improved, but an ideal approach of you would be learning the app router. What it is like creating folders and navigating by that. You do not need to understand about this again. I'll explain this in a very simplified version, and you need to learn only that. Just what I'm saying is a rough overview. You have learned, suppose that you've learned Next.js for a week or long, then you will be having a good view of a good understanding of what I'm saying to you. Then, version handling and all built on top of React is a framework that is all about Next.js. Okay, so the next step is app router, learning about app router and all. The first involvement would be installation. कि हमें तो भी project करना है ना, तो you need to open your terminal. If you are on Windows, then the process is different. Process is actually the same, but you need to have Node installed. What is Node? If you have learned React, you should have an idea of what is Node. But yet, I am just giving an overview of what is Node. Node is just handling built on V8 engine. You need not to know all that. Just go on nodejs.org, get Node.js, install it. For Mac OS, you need to install the PKG version. Yeah, you can use Brew, and on Windows, you need to install the MSI version of it. Linux and all, you guys can figure out. Linux users are pretty smart, I've seen. They can figure out what they need. So what I need you to do now is go to any folder of on your machine, maybe in the root folder, and create a project. One second, my dog is here. I need to pause it. Alright, back in the video. So what we were doing is we were creating a Next.js project. How do you create that? You create that by typing, first installing Node.js into your machine, then typing npx create hyphen next hyphen app. Now an optional thing is writing at the rate of latest. If you don't write this, it still works, but if you write this, then you get the latest version of next installed, into the project. Hit enter, proceed obviously. Then what is your project name? For me, I'm keeping it as learn next YT. For you, it might be something else. Maybe you would want to write XYZ, or maybe whatever your name is. You could just give it the project name. Does not create any difference because we are just learning it now. Hit enter. Want to use TypeScript? For now, we are not using TypeScript because you do not know what is TypeScript. Most probably, hit no. If you want linters to be into your project, then you'll have to click on either ESLint or BioMe or none. Usually ESLint is used, so we'll go with that. Want to use Tailwind CSS? We do not know Tailwind CSS. Do not think it as of a big thing of learning a framework, learning a library. It is very easy. Just write the classes into properly. That is how Tailwind works. If you don't know, we'll cover that in this specific video only. You need not to worry about that. Want it in the source directory? Yes or no? For me, I don't like that in source directory. You might like. Again, depends on how you want it to be. I'll keep it as no. App router, obviously. Turbo pack, yes, no, on your choice. I'll keep it yes for now. I don't want to that much customization. Import alias we change. So hitting no for that. It would take some time. Create that into your machine. Would take a little bit time, then you would be good to go. Depends on your internet speed. My one is decent, probably not working that fast now because it is raining outside very heavily, so might take a bit time. Let us pause the video for the moment and then we'll join back when it is ready. It got ready. Then you need to go into cd. What was the name? The name was lrn hyphen next hyphen yt. Go into that. Now open this. As in React, you need to do npmi to install the packages. But for Next, you need not to do that. Open this in your VS Code. I am using cursor for now. I will be turning off the code completion, so that won't create much difference to you. In the difference as in using Next and React. So I mean, what I'm seeing, like difference between VS Code and cursor. Now what we will do is we edit. Acha, run this first. Pehले run this. Type in npm node package manager run run dev dev. What it would do is start that on port 3000. Remember, not 8080, it is port 3000. You can click on command and click on this one, or control and click on this one. Yeah, you can open this in your preferred browser. I'll be using Chrome for now. Yeah, okay. So what it says is get started by editing app/page.js. Let us do that. Go to app, then page.js. What we would do is we'll just clear out everything. We don't want anything from them. I'll be starting by creating a div and hello world. This is not a rocket science. I've used autocomplete here. I guess you understand about this one because this is basics of writing in HTML. What it does is create a div and then a h1 with the hello world into it. You need not to worry about what is home, what is next image. As of now, learn with the flow. You'll get to learn a lot better. Just consider this as a black box. There's nothing written over there. Only div and a hello world. I don't know if you're seeing me on a mobile phone or not. I think I need to zoom into. Is this fine for you guys? I guess it is. So hello world. Then if you go back to your Chrome or wherever you have, you'll see hello world. Change it to say hello papaya. It changes as hello papaya instantly since we are using npm run bit. How did npm run them? How did that come? If you go to package.json, whatever you write, whatever word, like what we had done is we had used npm run then dev. Where did dev come from? Dev came from here. Next dev hyphen turbo pack. What would have happened if you had written here next dev hyphen turbo pack? Acha, npx you need to write. Npx because it is not installed on your machine. Turbo pack. It would have done the same thing. But why do we use npm run dev? Because that is a common sequence that we have seen every library built on top of JS to follow. Built using npm to follow. We have seen npm run dev on React. We are seeing that on Next.js. And probably when you will be shifting to the other frameworks or the libraries of Node or JS on top of JS, you will be having this specific command only for running your specific application. Therefore, we are not directly writing npx next dev hyphen turbo pack just as a sequence like conventional current and actual current. We are using npm run dev. We could have now. You need not to worry about what is build, what is start, what is lint. Though I've already told you what is lint. So close this, clear everything, do npm run dev. Simplest as of now. Okay. Next up, what we'll be doing is we'll be understanding this specific thing, whatever this is. You know React, or a bit of React. So I'll probably go through this step a bit faster. What happened on this one is, if you see, localhost colon 3000, you're on the slash. If you have nothing written, matlab if you're on the slash route. What happens when you go to google.com? When you go to google.com, you're on the slash route. Nothing is written, matlab you're on slash. अच्छा चलो suppose that as you might have seen कि कोई भी website पे when you go there is a pricing वाला page. Suppose the pricing page. Once you tap on the pricing page, slash pricing opens up. Now how do you create slash pricing for our next tab? For creating that, you need to go to whatever your preferred IDE is, create a folder, right click, new folder. What folder you need to create? Anything of your choice. For now I'll be creating pricing. Pricing is created, matlab a route slash pricing is created into your website. Does it mean that if I go to localhost colon 3000 and go to slash pricing, would that work? No, that won't. Why? We'll get to know very soon. It says 404 or page not found. But you might ask, you just said creating a directory would give you a slash route. Why is it not working? It is not working because you need to create, if you observe over here as well, a layout file and a page file. What is a layout file? If you open this, it has got all the fonts imported, the globals.css file imported, a font initialized, metadata written. What is metadata? You need not to worry about that. Then a root layout, children into it, and then returned something something. This is an HTML. I guess you are familiar with that. Body may you have passed the font name. Then you have passed the children. What is the children? The page.js for now is the children. Apart from the page.js, whatever is in this specific folder, in the app folder that the Next.js is compatible with. Suppose layout.js. I mean, whatever that is, page.js, the pricing folder is considered as the children to it, children to the layout wala file. Acha, okay, no problem. Then the next thing is, how do we create a pricing page? What you need to do is create a new file and name it page.js. The same thing as written in the slash directory. Why is it running without creating a folder? Because it is the slash directory. This is the home directory. What we are creating is a subdirectory slash pricing. So we'll create page.js. In the page.js, as the syntax is in the page.js of the app directory, we'll do the same. What we'll do is export default function pricing, then brackets, then return it. What would you return it? Pricing wala, I am returning a div. What would happen is, now if you go to slash pricing, you'll see pricing written over here. Similarly, can we create an about page? Yes, we can. About, then a new file, page.js, export default. Is suggesting me. I guess you are comfortable with this much of auto suggest. You should be, ideally, because that is nothing. Just giving you the syntax of it, the boilerplate of it. It gave you the about. Now, to better understand how things are working, to better get suggestions, to better get boilerplate, what you need to install are some extensions. These are not important to install as to code on Next.js, but it is generally advised that if you install this, it creates a much easy impact on your life to make things. What you need to install, Prettier is a good thing. You could use this one. I like Prettier for formatting the code. Tailwind for CSS suggestions. We'll learn about those. What you need to install is ES6. ES6. I guess it would suggest this one. ES7 plus. This one would give you the suggestions. If you have come from any React course, you probably know what is this. But again, if you don't know, let me tell you that's the best way to go about it. We got to know how to create slash routes. Create a few routes on your own, understand what is going on. Now what we'll do is, we will learn about, let me see through my docs. Layout file. What we'll do inside the layout file is, prior to layout file, let me give you a rough context of what are these files. Feel free to have a break over now. If you have understood enough, if you think you have got enough idea and your mind is now bloated with info, might happen for the first time, feel free to take up a break, go for a walk, come back around. What time? Let me see what time has passed. Alright, almost we have spent 21 minutes on this one. So feel free to have a break, go to a break, sit down for some minute, get to a balcony, just freshen up your mind, then come back. Once you've come back, you'll go into the folder structure of this one. What is folder structure? Here you see .next. What is this? Don't worry about this. This is the internal files of Next.js, where Next.js does building and sort of that. You need not to worry about that just now. We have the app directory. App, I have already told you what happens inside it. We have the node modules. What happens? npm i. Then whatever you install within the node as packages, those gets into node modules. If you don't understand what is node modules, don't worry about it just now. What you need to know is the public folder. Public folder generally would consist of the assets that you want. Suppose that if you go to, say, my website, docs.in, what happens is, this specific brand images, these are the assets. This specific, if we go to deeper down, I don't think I have much images on my website. This specific image that you see, if you inspect this one, and then go to this one, see, this is a slash background section png. What happened is, I have given this specific image as a background image to this specific section. What I did when I was making the website is, I had put that specific image. What image am I speaking about? This image. Let me see if I can get that out for you. Image, then I don't think I can get that out for you. Actually, this one. These are the images. Background section 3. Oh, sorry. Just remove the request URL from top of it. We have this image. What did I do with this image? I used it as the background of this one. Where did I put that? If I had coded this in Next.js, though it is not, where would I have put if I had coded that in Next.js? On the public folder. If I had put that on the public folder, I could have easily got that into this specific file to show. Alright. Next up is git ignore. If you know git, you will understand what is git ignore. If you don't know, don't move your head around it. Skip this one. Next is next config. In the future sessions, we'll have a good understanding what is next config, what is ESLint config, what is the node modules, the .next folder. Now into the app directory, we have favicon.iso. What is favicon.iso? This specific icon that you see when you go to any website. On my website, this is the favicon, this white color thingy. On Excalibur, this is the favicon. On Vercel, this is the favicon. These are called favicons. The show on the top left of your desktop tab. Then layout file. We will not create a layout file into the about wala page. You need to type layout.css Next.js. Now, I have created folder or what? Let me delete it. Move to trash. New file. Layout.js. What would this do is, uh, as you might see in the root layout of our file, if you go to the root layout, what it does is it imports a couple of fonts, it imports another file. The main purpose of it is root layout, writing this one, export default function root layout and passing in children into it. Let us do and understand this one. Export default function. Remember, we always do the casing as what is this called? Pascal or Camel? I forgot. Pascal case. These are things that you don't remember usually. We use Pascal case. Capital letters between the words. We do not usually use camel case. Export default function. About layout. Again, you could name this anything, but convention is naming it about layout. Close this one. As we had done this in the layout, in the page wala file, about return something, but you can do that here as well. Like if you do return div about, yeah, about layout. Good. Then what you would see in this file is about layout, but we had this file as well. We need to show this file as well. That is the layout. Suppose that I want about, maybe about wala page, I want this layout to wrap around it. You might get confused. What are you speaking of? If I write over the children, if I write Rudra, or maybe of H5, root layout. If I write this, root layer is coming on top, but if I create something on the about page, if I write this is the about page, then it is not coming. Why is it not coming? Because we have not passed it. We have not told it that we have a children inside it. Remember, computers are dumb machines. You need to train a computer as how you want it to function. Now, if you want to pass in, like if you want it to know that we also have sub routes into it, we also have other components into it, what you need to pass is a curly brace. Curly brace ho gaya, need to write children into it. Children mein, what would now happen is, what is children? Children is this page.js. Inside about, if you create a folder, say me, and then if you write page.js, then if you write export, I'll just use AI suggestion for you. If I have passed children, if I'm not passed children, I'll not see that. If I pass children, first off, I'll see what is inside this page.js, this specific thing. Also, I would be seeing the subdirectories about me. See this one first. Slash about pe aaya. If I have passed children, then I see this one. If I comment out children, then that does not show up. I am not changing anything in slash about. This wale page pe I am not changing anything. But if I do that on the layout file mein, if I uncomment, it is showing me the page.js wala file. Now, ab me wale file mein dekho, in this page.js, this is a me wala page. Inside about, see the folder structure. Inside about, there is a me folder. Me folder mein, what you need to do is, you need to do nothing, because we have already sorted the things out. This about and this is an about page. As you see in this page, this won't no longer show because we are in the me page. But what would show is the about layout. Why is the about layout being shown? Because that is the root layout of the file. Believe me, might sound confusing for now, but this is the most important thing that you need to know when you are building production scale applications. You need to know this. If you did not understand this, Again, get a walk, get a coffee, uh, try to wind your head around, try to watch this in, 2-3 times. You'll get an understanding of what this is. Acha. Then going into the next topic. This is done. No more knowledge on this one. Need to have a grasp of them, high level grasp of it. Then once you go into deeper into the videos, the next videos, a couple of next videos that are gonna come up, you need to understand. You need to go through those, and then you'll have a good understanding because you'll be more advanced by that time. Acha, we have known what is route. What we'll need to know again is what is it? We need to know what is what is acha. We can also do something like this. If I create if I want my project to be well organized, I can create a about wala ऐसे में, yeah, I can create a routes wala page. If I give brackets around that, would this be, use your brain and tell me, would this be as की apps ऐसे ऐसे क्या आएगा कि it would be slash routes, then slash about, then slash me. Would this be the route? Yeah, it would be as it was before only. Drum rolls, it would be as it was before only. Why do we use this one? To better manage our project once it grows beyond a certain level. If you hit this one, you'll see no page exists, but still root layout comes up. Why does it come up? Because in the layout file we have mentioned कि कुछ भी हो, whatever happens does not matter. I'll first show root layout and then I'll show the children. Now if you clear this one off, then this would just be a error 404 not found file. Acha, what I was speaking of is the route wala folder. Why do we do this? To better clear up our page. Maybe you'll in future you might create a new folder inside the route, maybe authentication. Then you will be having folders like say login. You'll have folders like say sign up, this one outside. Yes, you'll have things like this. Okay? Under authentication, my login and sign up comes. Maybe forgot password as well comes. So to better simplify things, to better have a project structure, we use this brackets wala thing. Now there is something called dot dot, then brackets, square brackets, curly brackets. You need not to know about that just now. We'll teach you once we get into it in deeper views. By now, I think you have a good idea of what is, whatever it is, get to it, how you understanding things work, what are these things. Then what you need to understand is, let me see this one, private folders. Again, this is it for the video. Let me not confuse you more. Learn this one again if you have any confusion. Get through this again. If you have confusion, drop that in the comments. I don't have as many subscribers that I'll not reply. I'll rather reply and give another video explaining your doubts. So go to the comments, tell me whatever your doubts are, let me know of your thoughts of how this video was, and we'll be good by the next video. By the next video we'll be learning a lot of things, a lot of advanced stuff. This was a base of what you needed to learn before learning Next.js. Thank you.